Thanks for joining us on Salt Lake City to Park City and back again. I'm Carrie Hawker-Diaz. The Clark Planetarium is so much fun, but it's time to head up to Park City to see what my co-host Megan Burke is doing today. Megan?
Thanks, Carrie. Now you're here at Park City's Swaner Preserve and EcoCenter. This permanently protected 1,200-acre nature center provides educational opportunities for both children and adults alike through nature walks, wildlife viewing opportunities, and more. Let's go visit with Hunter to learn about this extraordinary place. Hunter, what a beautiful nature preserve.
Thank you. So we have 1,200 acres of nature preserve here. All of it is preserved in perpetuity.
It's 1,200 acres, but there's a lot of different points of interest, I should say.
Right, exactly. So on the wetland side, that side is closed to the public other than this trail, and then we have one self-guided discovery trail that's a gated trail. And then on the upland side, which is on the north side of the preserve, those 350 acres, the Glen Wild Trail system is located on that side. So that's accessible to the public 24/7, and people can go and enjoy that side as well. They can get a good view of East Canyon Creek, check out the wildlife that's over there. There are a couple of good bird viewing spots. And on the Glen Wild Trail, you can hike, bike, you can take your dogs there as long as they stay on leash. It's a great multi-use trail. So other than the Glen Wild Trail system, we also have the EcoCenter here. So we're standing on the boardwalk that goes out a little bit onto the wetland. At the end of this boardwalk over here, we have, there's a little end of the deck pier. You can stand there, you can look at pictures of what wildlife and animals we have here on the preserve and check those out. So inside of the EcoCenter, we have lots of other activities going on that we can check out later. And then other than that, we also have education programming. So that's a big part of the preserve as well.
You keep things very interactive here, which is really exciting. So I guess I want to touch upon the history a little bit about the preserve and the EcoCenter and how this whole idea came about.
Right. So the Swaner family actually used to ranch on about 200 acres of the preserve. And when the father of their family, Leland Swaner, passed away, they decided that they wanted to turn this into some sort of protected space. And then they learned a little bit about how important the wetland ecosystem is. So once they learned that, they caught the conservation bug and they decided to really turn it into a preserve.
Maybe give some details on the nature walk that we're about to explore.
We go out at 8:30. It's about an hour and 15-minute walk, sometimes a little bit more than that. And we'll learn about what kind of plants and animals we have here on the preserve. We'll talk about the ecology of the wetland. And we'll look for signs of animals. We'll try to find whatever we can. We talk about some of the plants. We can tailor the walk to kids, adults, any age group is great. Even if you have someone who can't walk very far, they can come out and go on just a little portion of the preserve. Kind of an interesting way to get out there. They can hear the history, and then they're more than welcome to come and sit on the deck and enjoy the view until we're finished.
And enjoy the view is an understatement.
Yeah,
it is beautiful. I cannot wait to get out there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all this information.
No problem.
And I'm ready to explore.
Yeah, let's do it.
When we return, we're venturing out on the nature trail. Wait till you see what's coming up next, only on this episode of Salt Lake City to Park City and back again. You're watching Salt Lake City to Park City and back again. I'm your host, Megan Burke, and right now we're at the Swaner Preserve and EcoCenter about to hit the trail on one of their Saturday morning nature walks.
So we have the Swaner Preserve here. It's now 1,200 acres, and this entire side of the preserve, the wetland side, is protected under conservation easement. So those easements mean that this land will be protected in perpetuity. No one else will be able to build on it or do anything but conservation work to keep it at its best wetland habitat. As this wetland, it has all of these great plants. There's over 200 species of plants here on the preserve. Those plants sort of help to filter the water. The soil quality helps to filter the water. And so as that water sits here, it gets filtered, and that means that's a little bit less filtering that we have to do to be able to use it later on and for animals to be able to use it. Because this side is under conservation easement, it is closed to the public, so we get a unique opportunity to get to go out onto it today, the portion that the public doesn't usually get to access. So the ground feels pretty dry right now, right?
Yeah.
But I said this was a wetland, didn't I? But it's dry. Doesn't that seem weird?
Yeah, it does. We just talked about
Right? Right? Wetlands only have to be wet part of the time. But the great part is, if you guys had been here in the spring, we had such a great snow year this year. We had so much snow that if you were walking through this, the water would be up to there on your ankles. So this, in the spring, when there's all that water melting down, you can see all the mountains that we're surrounded by. And pretty much every face that you see, the snow that melts from there, comes to this wetland. And so as that water comes into the wetland, it has a really good spot to sort of slowly start moving. So very slowly, that water makes its way. There's two streams that go under the highway over there, and they go over to the other side of I-80. When they get over there, they go into East Canyon Creek, and eventually they go down into the East Canyon Reservoir and then into the Beaver River. Some of that water from the Beaver River is then used for drinking water here in Park City, and then what isn't used goes down eventually into the Great Salt Lake. So all of this is part of the Great Salt Lake watershed. All right, let's keep walking through the grass.
Have you introduced any new species now that this preserve has been restored, or any other animals?
No, we try not to introduce anything new. We want only native species, ideally. So this is a great spot to see the Baltic Rush. So as we look out, you can see how it's a really dark patch of grass. It almost looks like it's been burned, right? Yeah. And that's all that Baltic Rush growing. So the really dark colors all come from the Baltic Rush. So that means that this is an area that would probably have a lot of water during the spring, right? Because the Baltic Rush tends to grow where it's really wet. Right here is my favorite plant on the preserve. This is called Scouring Rush. It's really cool because it comes apart into all these awesome little pieces, and you can put it back together. So you can make necklaces or bracelets out of it. The other neat thing is that it's really rough. So it used to be used, Native Americans would use it they would use it to scour their pots. They would clean their pots with it. And then also as a toothbrush. So this is a good thing to clean your teeth with, right? And the other great thing about this plant and why it grows here is that it's a good wetland plant. It's a rush. Remember, rushes are round, sedges have edges. And it can hold water in each one of these little individual straws.
Wow, that was an incredible nature walk. When we return, we're headed inside the EcoCenter, only on this episode of Salt Lake City to Park City and back again. Welcome back. We're here in Park City at the Swaner Nature Preserve. Now let's head in and check out the EcoCenter with Hunter.
So right now we're in the exhibit hall, and we have quite a few elements in here that are interactive. So the first being the climbing wall right over here. So that's open on Saturdays and Sundays in the afternoons. People are more than welcome to come in and try it out.
I'll be on there soon.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then we also have behind us, we have the Beaver Dam and the Coyote Den exhibit. Both of those are interactive. You can crawl into them. They each have small models of their young in them. And so you can sort of pretend to be a beaver or pretend to be a coyote. We also have our River Runs Through Us exhibit where you can sort of touch through different parts of our water ecosystem in the watershed. We have some examples of different bones over here in the display cases. We have nests in the display cases behind me. There's a building model of the sustainable elements, so you can actually do a self-guided green building tour. This is a great room for people to get to really come in from being outside. So if they're on the deck, they can come in and kind of get a more immersive experience into the preserve, learn a little bit more in depth about what we have happening here on the preserve.
Definitely a great hands-on tool for educational purposes, everyone passing through here. So I can get harnessed up and climb this.
Definitely, let's do it.
All right, we're climbing the ecosystem.
Yeah. So as you climb the wall, it's really neat because you actually get to go through some different parts of our watershed and our ecosystem. So you start out down in the dirt below the water, then you go up into the water of the stream, and eventually you get into the riparian zone and the land above the stream with lots of animals and the wildlife that we have here on the preserve.
I hope you've enjoyed this interactive experience at the Swaner Preserve and EcoCenter. Now it's time to head back again to Carrie in Salt Lake City.